Hey, Francis here with the Texas Roadrunner channel. Do you ever work on one of those projects? You know you have the tools, but then you start working on it and all of a sudden you can't find the tools you need or the supplies you need. Then you run back to the hardware store and then you buy it and then you complete your project. And then about 3 months later, you're working in the garage and you find everything. Well, that's sort of the story with these batteries here. I purchased them for a project. They're 12-volt batteries. They're almost the kind that you see for, you know, charging up your deer feeders and stuff like that. And then all of a sudden I found what I needed. I'm up 2 batteries. So I started thinking, what can I do with these things? So I had this idea. You see, I want to buy a new toy. You know, one of those clay pigeon throwing machines, but it needs a 12-volt source. Now, you know, you can run a big wire to your car battery, or I could hook it up to this deep cycle marine battery that I use for my trawler motor, but it gets kind of heavy. It's really so very, I usually just use this dolly to help me get it around. I also have the Sears Die-Hard battery jumper, charger, and inverter and everything, but I like to keep it in the truck just so I can keep all my electronics that I have up and going for backup. Okay, so I kind of thought that I could perhaps mount these inside of a small ammo can and then hook it all up and turn it into a bigger power bank. And then I started thinking about some more. Put a meter on it so you can check your voltage settings, and also maybe add on a 12-volt auto accessory output and maybe some of those SDI connectors. I think I'm saying it right. SDI, you know, what you plug in to charge up your electronics. So let's build this. So the first step, obviously, is to make a trip to Lowe's and maybe make a trip to Amazon for some other parts if I can't find them at Lowe's. Okay, I found a smaller ammo box over at Academy to place my batteries in. I found some wiring over at Walmart. This meter I got online with from Amazon, and the switch and the fuse protector. And I found these connectors over at Lowe's. I think I got this at Walmart too. It's that 12-volt accessory output plus the USB ports. Why did I call it SDI? That's those memory things, but SUB ports. And a couple tools. And the first thing I need to do is work on a schematic for all the wiring. So I'm going to start fiddling around in here and come up with a schematic. Okay, I got my meter to work off of 1 battery, and I'm also showing 12 volts over here. Next step is to put these 2 batteries into parallel for more power, and then I'll try to figure out how to hook up the switch. Okay, I now have the 2 batteries hooked up in parallel. I'm still showing 12 volts, and I'm showing 12 volts on my meter. Next step is, how do I hook up this switch? Alright, let me think on it. Alrighty, I finally figured out my switch. Where is it? Down here. I'm pulling, I'm getting 12.4 volts output on my meter, and then I'm also monitoring it on my VOM, digital VOM, and I got my switch working, and so if I turn it off, the meter goes off. Turn it back on, comes back on. So I really only want the switch to run my meter. And I also got the accessory up and going here for you know, USB to power up your smaller electronics, and maybe hook up an inverter right here so I could get AC power. I'll work on it. One thing I noticed on this USB output and accessory output, it has an LED light, and I could not put it in line with the meter so it would turn on when I had the switch thrown, because this because that LED will probably pull power and run down my batteries over time. So I had to go back to the hardware store, or actually the auto parts store, and buy another switch. I am losing my light again, and I have a early evening patient visit, so I'm going to call it quits for today, and we'll pick this back up tomorrow. See you in the morning. Okay, it's day 2 of this build. Let's get back to work. Okay, I finally got all my wiring figured out. I have my switch that makes my USB and 12-volt accessory device work, which is powering up or recharging the battery in my spotlight. And on my old iPhone, as you can see, it's all lit up in green at 73%. I also have my switch down here that turns my meter right here on and off to let me know how much voltage. So the next step is to finish up my schematic so I can build my wiring harness, and then I will cut holes into the little ammo box and mount all the devices in it, including the batteries. And one thing important about the batteries is that I know at some point I'm gonna have to replace them, so I need to mount them inside so they're easily replaceable. And also on these terminals, you can see, again, it's a rat's nest, but I only have one connection per each terminal. So that way when I replace the batteries, I just have to yank out 4 terminals. I'll catch you back when I finish up with the schematic. I've completed my schematic, but before I make the wiring harness for everything, I'm going to go ahead and cut holes into the ammo box, and so I know where to mount all these devices, and of course mount my battery, again keeping in mind to be able to take the batteries in and out very easily once they need to be replaced. So that's my next step, drilling holes in this ammo box. So that's my next step, drilling holes in this ammo box. And I'll get back with you when I completed mounting everything. Then we'll start on the wiring harness. Okay, I've cut all my holes for my terminals to the load, and then of course my meter to measure my load, and my USB and 12-volt accessory output ports, and my switches to control the on and off of both the meter and the USB and 12-volt accessories. Do you recognize these tools? Yep, they were purchased during that online quarantine shopping. I'm fabricating some spacers out of some styrofoam and some paint stir sticks, and I'm going to cut them down and place them inside the ammo box to keep the battery steady, and you know, also cut them down so that I can take the batteries in and out when I need to. Now, although this is just styrofoam, I've been covering it with this silicone glue here to give it added strength. And I'll show you what it's going to look like after everything dries. Okay, it's another beautiful morning. This is day number 3 of this build. So let's check out the box. Got everything screwed in place so I can figure out the wiring harness. I got my spacers in here and they're gluing right now, and so I'm just going to let everything dry before I go any further. The wiring harness is complete, so let's close her up and start plugging things in and see what we can recharge or power up. Also note that I only have 4 connectors to the batteries. Everything is really just wired on the lid, which makes it easy in case I ever need to change out the batteries, which I probably will. Okay, she's completed. My meter is showing 12.22 volts. Here's where I would hook up my load for 12 volts. And my VOM is reading 12.7. I did put on this inverter so I could try to run this fan for you. Let's see, it's charging up my spotlight, charging up my iPhone, and it's charging up my iPad, iPhone. And let's see if we can turn the fan on. I connected my inverter to the 12 volt accessory, and it's running the fan. Hey, we're back again. I hope you enjoyed that video on building your own do-it-yourself power bank on steroids. If you ever have any big batteries to play around with, might be something you may want to do. It was challenging, yeah, it was challenging, especially trying to get all that wiring figured out, but it happened. And so the next time you see me with the power bank on steroids, we're going to have some fun. So watch out for a future video on having some fun with that thing. And until next time, you guys be safe out there and take care. I'm Francis Kiefel, and I approved this video.